Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event with your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC Kansas City. Max blessed Holloway taking on Arnold Allen in your featherweight main event title contender eliminator. Arnold Allen, the dark horse of the division. Max Holloway, the former champion. But before we can get into that, we've got a very special guest in the building. You may recognize him. Listen, you may not. He's dropped this name from out of weight. Dude looks fucking phenomenal. You may be following him from the MMA Engine, contributor at Pub Sports Radio. I mean, DFS by the numbers.com, brand new website. Go check it out. Go support his Patreon. Hook the brother up. Big Bad Brady in the house. What is going on, dude?
My goodness, what an introduction. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. You guys hit me up short notice. Yeah, of course I'm ready to step in, talk this fight card. 14 fights. I think it's a really good card for like a fight night card. Really looking forward to pretty much every single fight. I mean, there's a couple ones that I'm not too excited about. I'm sure we'll talk about those, but overall it's a really good card for a fight night.
yes.
Not only does Big Bad Brady come in on short notice, but of course he made weight. The consummate professional.
Yeah.
He's fully prepared. Let's
go.
fucking go.
Hell yeah,
So-
we got Daz in the chat. We love you, buddy. Thanks for joining the show as always. We just love everyone that supports the community. Shout out to you guys first and foremost, because without the amazing people in our MMA Twitter, MMA YouTube community, I mean, we wouldn't be out here doing for this week by week. Otherwise, me and Guru would just be texting like we used to in the old days. So
exactly.
Hey, help us out. Throw a little like on the video, subscribe to the show. And hell yeah, great betting. Let's go, baby. Let's get into it because, oh my God, it's the return. It's Max blessed Holloway versus Arnold Allen. And oh man, what was the last time we saw Max Holloway coming off an Alexander Volkanovski loss? And we were like, oh man, is he the same guy? Is he going to be the same one? And man, we saw a Calvin Kattar fight. We saw a Yair Rodriguez fight in those types of circumstances. And got to say, he came out looking better than ever in both of those matchups. So Max Holloway coming in minus 170 to Arnold Allen at plus 145. We got the over 4.5 at minus 135 and the under 4.5 at plus 105. Max is going to be 3 inches taller, but giving up an inch of reach. He does have the leg reach, 3 inches there. But, I mean, just the vast experience as well. I think, almost quadruple the fight time of Arnold Allen. And I think a lot of it comes from his 5-round experience. So ultimately, Arnold Allen isn't going to be able to take the Dan Hooker approach in this fight. And if he does, it's going to be ugly when he gets countered and just absolutely made a fool of. So ultimately, I mean, listen, I gotta go Max bless, man. Arnold Allen, he's shown to be low output when he needs to reserve his cardio. He's shown to get behind in fights before he has a big moment. I don't think you can rely on a big moment like that against Max. I know Max gets hit a lot, but I think that he's shown to be willing to go to his wrestling, like against Yair Rodriguez, to get a little control time, to slow down the fight if he feels like it's getting a little crazy. I don't think Arnold Allen is any more dangerous on the feet than Yair Rodriguez. Let's be serious. So ultimately, you look at the pace, and Holloway throws 5 more strikes per minute at distance. He's used to his opponents throwing 13 strikes per minute at distance. So the 11 from Arnold Allen ain't anything special. And I mean, he's going to significantly outland him. And Arnold Allen's defense relies on him playing on the outside. So, I mean, if he's going to try to close the distance here on Max and get to the inside, thanks a lot, Guru. What the hell?
Oh, I was fucking muted. That's funny as fuck.
Jeez. Nice. Well, anyways, hey, what better time to pass it off? Because I got Max Holloway. Holloway inside the distance at plus 200.
Sorry, everybody. Those seltzer burps are crazy.
Delicious.
Crazy. Sorry, everybody. That's wild. Listen, Max blessed Holloway. You have to wonder, right? Is he the same guy? 31 years old, right? You're thinking that he's not even that old when you look at that, but I mean, he's been through some absolute wars. You look at his face. Realistically, he does not have. He used to have the baby face. He does not have the face of a 31-year-old anymore. His face is certainly weathered. Optics aside, we saw him get absolutely dismantled by Alexander Volkanovski in his last outing, right? I mean, it was Alex had never looked sharper. It's what stamped him as, pound for pound number one at the time. And you just saw a different tier at that moment. Arnold Allen is somebody who's on probably one of the most impressive win streaks in the sport, let alone the division, with 10 wins in a row. But he's gotten to this amazing fight right now, basically against your number one contender or perennial number one contender in Max Holloway. And what has he really done to get here? It's such an interesting path that he's went, right? I'm not sure that we know exactly what we have in Arnold Allen. Even still, to this day, we're still not sure what we have in Arnold Allen. I am not convinced Calvin Kattar was fully healthy coming into that fight. And either way, it only lasted a round, and Calvin wasn't landing much of anything. So Arnold looked fantastic in that fight. Knocks out the experiment, Dan Hooker, cutting down weight. I mean, dude was a stick figure, completely drawn out, gets knocked out bad. And then Sadiq Youssef fight looks good against Sadiq, looks great against Sadiq, knocks him down, I think twice, if not 3 times, once in each round, but then is tired and is on his skates for round 3. Sadiq applying the pressure wins the round, I believe, on at least 2 judges' scorecards, certainly on my scorecard. Point being, how can you outpace, out pressure, out volume, out cardio Max Holloway across 5 rounds? You're multiple time champion, used to training for, I mean, when was the last time he had a 3-round fight? I mean, dude is built for 5 rounds. Arnold Allen is yet to climb that mountain yet, and he has to do it against somebody who, again, has probably some of the best cardio in the entire sport, let alone the division. So I have to take Max Holloway here. I like Max Holloway round 4-5 decision. Anyway, you can take Max, maybe in Max over 1.5 type deal if you can get a good number on that. I'm not even fully convinced that Max doesn't finish him with volume at some point, because I really think he's out to remind people who he is, similar to like an Israel Adesanya type vibe. But without further ado, please, Brady, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about this fight, like the more just confident I get in Max Holloway. Because for Arnold Allen to win this fight, I think he's going to have to do one of 2 things, which both would just really shock me. The first thing I think he'd have to do to win this fight is like knock out Max Holloway, which nobody's been able to knock him out. Nobody's been able to even knock him down. So it's never happened before. So that would shock me. And then the other way I could see Allen having to win this fight would be outlanding Max Holloway across 5 rounds, which that would shock me as well. So how does Arnold Allen win this fight? You know, is he going to outland Max Holloway, who has some of the best, if not the best, volume in the division? I don't see it. And then is he going to knock out one of the most durable guys in UFC history in Max Holloway? I don't really see it. So unless Max really is washed, which is so funny. People have been saying he's like washed and done and on his way out since he was like 29. I mean, he's only 31 years old. I still think he has a few years left in him. Yeah, I like Max Holloway here. And I'm with you guys with those late props, 4-5 decision. And then I also sprinkled the 3, 4, and 5, just because we have not seen Arnold Allen in the 3rd round in a couple fights. And the last time we did see him in the 3rd round, he looked like he was gassing out against Sadiq Youssef. And in that 3rd round against Youssef, he only landed 2 strikes in that 3rd round, which is just not a good look here. So I think it's Max Holloway and Max Holloway pretty confidently. And like the more the fight week has gone on, the more I really do like Max Holloway in the spot.
So I literally had an option, or the ability to, I guess it was maybe 2 weeks ago, could have had Max Holloway money line minus 145. That line has ballooned up to minus 190. Definitely a bummer I didn't play that.
It's minus 170 now.
Oh wow! So there's been a little bit of buyback on.
Yeah. These are these lines are live as of like 20 minutes ago. I just put them in.
That's super interesting. So yeah, I think minus 170 on Max Holloway is extremely fair. Yeah, and again, he showed off a clinic versus Yair Rodriguez. People, you're trying to say he's washed. Like, dude wrestled and out-volumed and out-kickboxed the guy that, like, again, is standing a foot in front of you and can kick you in the face. Like, dude's a savage. He's now going to fight Volkanovski. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in that fight. Like, okay. But, yeah. Brady, you want to add something?
Nope, I agree. I think it's Max Holloway, and those finish props are juicy. So hoping Holloway can get him out of their attritional knockout 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. That'd be very nice.
Excellent.
Love it. So without further ado, we'll get moving on to the featherweight co-main event. We got it's Edson Jr. Barbosa, right? versus Billy the Squid Quarantillo. Is that right?
I don't think squid is official, but that's just really funny.
All right, fair enough. Hey, we're gonna roll with it. All right. Hey, Frivola, Billy, they love the squid emojis out there. That they're always getting the party rocking. So, anyways, we got Edson Barbosa plus 150, Billy minus 175. The over 2.5 is at minus 120. The under 2.5 at minus 110. I mean, purely if you're just looking at the blind pace numbers, I mean, Billy should be able to get his cardio train going and roll here, right? But you look a little deeper into his takedown efficiency, into how he goes about actually getting into those positions. You look into Billy and kind of like he throws these really weird, like he just runs forward and tries throwing these like jumping knees that don't really have any athleticism or accuracy behind him. Throws a little bit of wild boxing combinations, and he just gets chewed up on the front foot consistently. And you see it against Shane Burgos really bad. And you see he's not able to finish a takedown on Shane Burgos. I get it. And you saw also against Gavin Tucker. That was another example of one of those fights where, man, I just you get left wanting a bit more. I mean, 0 of 14 on takedowns against Burgos, 0 of 3 against Tucker. And these are guys that were willing to kick the leg, move, get in a volume war. Now, do I think Barbosa is going to throw 322 strikes and last with the cardio? I don't. That's the one thing that really keeps me from laying a money line here on Barbosa. I think you kind of have to take it as like a Barbosa money line, and then you play the props of Billy Q round 2 and Billy Q round 3. If Billy is able to survive all the leg kicks and the body shots in the early going, then yeah, he should be able to put on his pace. I don't see why not, but there's something in me that says that Barbosa still might have one of those performances left in him.
It's the line I feel like that's really making me feel that way. He was basically lying the same thing against Alexander Hernandez. Who's a better fighter, Alexander Hernandez or Edson Barbosa? When we saw that fight announced, we knew exactly how it was going to go because Hernandez was going to play exactly into Billy Q's strength. I'm going to give you a round of hell, and then I'm cooked. So come finish me. I'm easy pickings now, and that's what you saw happen to a T. Billy Q, the man. I'm just concerned here with a guy in Barbosa who is obviously extraordinarily tough, and a fantastic kickboxer, one of the best the UFC's ever seen over the course of his career. And is Barbosa to steal Brady's thunder, right? Is Barbosa a bum? Like, are we sure that he's washed? Like, are we sure? I mean, he got into a pure K1 kickboxing match with fucking Giga Chikadze. That didn't go well. He should have mixed up his MMA. That's fair. And then getting wrestle fucked by Bryce Mitchell, we do understand that because that's what Bryce wants to do to you. And we knew that Edson's defensive grappling has always kind of been his weak spot. Billy Q does not have the wrestling of Bryce Mitchell. And when you see him fight Shane Burgos, he's outpacing Shane Burgos in round 1. He wins basically round 1. He's a live favorite 2 minutes into round 2, according to the ticker on the bottom anyway. But the problem with that fight specifically is that unfortunately for Billy, he doesn't seem to have the power advantage, the damage advantage. So he's expecting when he's outpacing Shane Burgos, he's expecting to be the damage to increase and him to take over. But Burgos didn't fucking stop. And Burgos hits way harder than he does. So all of a sudden, Billy was the one hurt and Billy was the one getting outlanded. I'm not sure that Billy has the power advantage over Edson Barbosa. So I could see it almost happening very similar to the Shane Burgos fight. I like the fight to go the distance. I think both of these guys are tough. I mean, if Billy gets it, like you said, TB, I think it's late. So I don't mind those round 3 decision props or a round 2, round 3 type sprinkle. I think the best way to play it is if you need a money line, you need a shot, you take an Edson Barbosa right now, and you're gonna play Billy Q live money line like after round 1. Like see how that fight goes. And if like TB said, if he's survived, then maybe you take a nice, if the lines flip something, maybe you can take a dog shot Billy Q or closer to even money shot on Billy Q after maybe a tough round 1 because he could possibly pull away. So Brady, please, what are your sentiments here on this awesome co-main event?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the money line of Billy Q, but I think he's probably getting Barbosa at the right time here. Barbosa, now 37 years old, has taken a lot of damage. Really have not liked how he looked in his last couple fights. I know they were against Bryce Mitchell, where he got taken down nonstop, but Bryce Mitchell did drop him there. And then also against Giga Chikadze, phenomenal kickboxer, but Giga kind of broke him there. So I think Billy is going to kind of, like he does, he's going to get hit in the face early on and get hit in the face a lot, get kicked in the legs a lot as well. So that really concerns me. He has terrible striking defense, like 40%. But as the fight goes on, he's going to kind of grow into the fight. He's going to pressure. He's going to throw a lot of volume. And I'm not sure Edson Barbosa at 37 years old is going to be able to keep up. But yeah, instead of the money line here on Billy, live betting would be a very good look because I think Barbosa is going to look like the much better fighter in that first round. It's just, is he going to be able to look like that in the second or third? I'm not so sure. So yeah, I'm going to probably sprinkle those Quarantillo round props as well. They're not as juicy as you'd like to see just because they're kind of all over. They know who Billy Q is at this point. I think it's like plus 700 for round 2, plus like 1100 for round 3. So not as juicy as I'd like to see, but I think Billy's going to be live for a late finish here. But yeah, from a money line perspective, pre-fight, it's probably dog or pass, but I think a live bet entry in Billy Quarantillo is probably the best way to look here.
Excellent, excellent. And not that we generally do that, but any sort of like DraftKings sort of DFS type feel that you're feeling strongly about either of those matchups?
Yeah, it's hard to ignore Billy and DraftKings just because this guy throws so much volume that it's unreal. So I'm going to be having a lot of Billy, but I think Barbosa is going to be live early to land a big shot, hurt Billy. So yeah, I love this fight from DraftKings, but I'm more so on the Billy Q side from a DraftKings perspective.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Love it. All right, so here we are. We're moving on to our next fight here. We got Dustin Jacoby versus Azamat Murzakanov. Jacoby is minus 155 to Murzakanov plus 135. Over 2.5 minus 110. Under 2.5 minus 120. Guru, you know what I like to call these lines sometimes. I think this could be a gift from the gods. I think Dustin Jacoby could be a hindsight gift from the gods type of line here. You see a guy that's throwing almost triple the amount of strikes, pace at distance. A guy that, yeah, he's been knocked down a couple times, but like you kind of have to think about the circumstances behind those, right? Maxim Grishin misses weight. He's grappling him a little bit. He's facing a guy like Ivan Kutelaba, like stuff like that. You can kind of give him a pass for it. Murzakanov, I mean, he's just so low output. He's just waiting for that one kill shot. And I think Jacoby's kickboxing background and his ability to stuff takedowns and I mean, yeah, he can get put through the fire, but I don't think it's so easy to finish this guy at this stage. So Murzakanov, I think, is very much a finish-only type of guy here. And, I think Jacoby is going to look like the more youthful guy out there. I think he's a much better athlete. He's got a 5-inch height advantage, 5-inch reach advantage, 4-inch leg reach. He's got almost 6 times the amount of UFC fight time. And I think he could win this fight any which way. And you're giving me minus 155. I'll pull the trigger. That's going to be probably one of my best bets of the week.
Yeah, Dustin Jacoby has been one of my favorite fighters to bet on, and honestly, I've been fairly successful because the dude, you got to fix that. The dude did beat Khalil Roundtree, but that should be red.
It's out of principle, okay? Look at the strikes, okay? 116 to 80, and then
crazy. I don't know, 160. Yeah, I mean, you outland somebody by double, and you somehow lose a fight. And the other dude didn't have any control. I don't damage. I mean, really, I don't know. Crazy stuff. Maybe quickly, Brady. Who do you did you think Jacoby won that fight?
I thought that was one of the worst decisions of the year. I mean, that was pretty bad.
Okay. Yeah, because that cost me big. So anyway, basically, Jacoby to me is again has made me a decent amount of money so far. He's somebody that wins and wins consistently with his volume. Like to see him get hit a little bit less, as you kind of saw in the Khalil fight, take a little too much damage. But realistically, he knows how to dish it, kick down Jung's ass. I think Azamat is somebody that has snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat, right? You look at that Tafon and Chukwe fight. That was one of the craziest, worst fights ever. Tafon's winging. And like you said on Die Hard MMA's podcast on Wednesday, TB. I mean, he literally, his coach just says, you go out there and finish him. You put a stamp on this right now. And he just goes, okay. And he goes like, you never want to go full retard. And he goes full retard right into the dude's flying knee. It was terrible. Really, really, really poor fight IQ. And then, he beats up Devin Clark. Just, you got to fight, Devin. You don't really like to see that. I think somebody like Dustin Jacoby is much more difficult to finish. And, especially with 5 inches of reach for Dustin Jacoby, I think Azamat's going to really struggle to touch him. So give me Dustin Jacoby. Give me Dustin Jacoby over 1.5. Yeah. Brady.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Like, I taped this fight actually last week, and I saw Dustin Jacoby at minus 188. I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to play Dustin Jacoby at minus 188. And then a couple days go by, I see Dustin Jacoby at minus 159. I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump on. I'm here. There's no way this line gets any better. And then here we are on a Wednesday, and it's minus 152. I'm like, am I missing something? Because this should be Jacoby all day outside of Mirzakhanov landing a big shot and knocking out Jacoby, which I think is going to be a lot easier said than done. Jacoby's going to have a huge height and reach advantage. Like, Mirzakhanov is very small for the light heavyweight division. So yeah, I think Mirzakhanov is probably going to have to knock him out. It's because, Jacoby is going to be much, much higher volume. Mirzakhanov is not going to wrestle. He's shown no ability to do thus far in the UFC. And if he does try to wrestle Jacoby, he's probably going to gas out. So yeah, I think Mirzakhanov's kind of KO or bust here. And I think that's going to be tough against the guy in Jacoby who has a very good chin, only been knocked out once, and 8 shots like it was nothing against Khalil Roundtree. So yeah, I mean, the line scares me because I'm like, what am I missing? What's going on here? But yeah, I like Jacoby. I'm pretty confident outside of Mirzakhanov landing something. But yeah, it should be Jacoby, the clear minute winner. And I don't think it's going to be close in terms of those minutes. But yeah, I like Jacoby quite a bit. And I did bet him at minus 159, but I guess I should have waited, I guess.
Do we have any concern about Dustin Jacoby's 48% takedown defense? So Dustin Jacoby faced young Kutelaba went 9 of 19, and that's really, and whoever Clifford Starks is went 3 of 3.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Iwan Kutelaba is like as elite as it gets as far as like takedown efficiency. I'm not saying he's an elite fighter, but like he's
he's good. But I'm just saying, like, whoever Clifford Starks is going 3 of 3 isn't good.
Right in 2011.
Okay. All right,
Darren. His first.
Okay, fine. Darren Stewart went 2 of 2. That's the only thing that guy can do. So
right, but 43 seconds of control. He's
right.
back up immediately.
He's hard to hold down. He's really
that's
hard
what
to
I like to listen. That's what I like to see, and that's why I'm talking it through.
Well, Mirzakhanov goes 1 of 5 on Nchukwi. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah, but that guy's so much tall. I mean, he's so much taller than Azamat is. How much taller is Nchukwi over Jacoby?
Not much. I mean, I think they're.
And Nchukwi's 6 foot. Jacoby's, I think, 6'2" or 6'3".
Really? So he's even taller than Jacoby. Wow.
And Nchukwi went down to middleweight, bro.
Oh.
So
wow.
Anywho, yeah, I mean, it's got to be Jacoby. I don't want to think this one.
I'll anywho you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that settles that one, right?
Yeah, you won't even know who. Listen, I'm salty over here. Now listen, Dustin Jacoby, smash spot. I honestly think that they're giving him a pretty solid matchup after what they saw. Like, listen, man, you definitely beat Khalil. So about that, why don't you just go out here and get this dub real quick?
Yeah. Let's fade him. Let's go. Fade Azamat. So here we go. We got our next fight. We got Tanner the Shaved Bear Boser versus Iwan the Hulk Kutelaba. That's actually just the gym that Tanner Boser trains out of, but they said, hey, a shaved bear is real ugly, but it can fuck you up. That's what he said in his interview with John Yonko. Also, what he said in that interview is that he's eating exclusively deer meat, essentially, to help him in his weight cut. The dude looks pretty shredded, though, so whatever the fuck that venison's got going on, man.
The Joe Rogan diet.
Yeah, Rogan. Yeah, so anyways, Boser, plus 110, Kutelaba at minus 130 now. Over 1.5, minus 140. Under 1.5, plus 110. Give me that over 1.5 all day. I just don't think that Tanner Boser really has as much finishing equity as some of the guys that Kutelaba's faced recently, and I don't think that Tanner Boser is necessarily that easy to finish. I think a heavyweight in Nascimento with a good submission game, whereas Kutelaba's kind of like a ground and pound guy, and he might give up a little position going to smash or going for a crazy. He doesn't even really go for subs. You know, he just goes for more like power submissions, like maybe an arm triangle if he gets in the mount, but it's not like he's fishing for anything, you know, stupendous. He's just a great wrestler. But I mean, dude, he's landing nearly 5 takedowns at 57.89%. And he shoots 8 per fight. I mean, that's a high level. The problem is he's not like the biggest guy for the division, but Boser really wasn't the biggest guy for heavyweight. So at the end of the day here, I mean, I got Kutelaba. It's just you can't take him at minus 130. I mean, it could be a hindsight play. He could just smash him, but I think more often than not, this is going to go the over 1.5 at minus 140. And I lean Kutelaba, but I don't think I need to play a side. I think, you know, if anything, Boser will finish him as the fight goes on rather than right away.
I think I just don't want to play this fight at all. Or like, I just, it's very suspect. Young Kutelaba, a favorite once again, because like you're kind of hinting at or repeating around, like he does kind of all the right things until his fight IQ kicks in and or his gas tank is shut down and he just loses the fight by a stupendous way. I mean, I will never forgive him for the Ryan Spann fight. And then he went and did the same thing that, I mean, he's done it 3 times in a row. He's done it 3 times in a row. Winning versus Ryan Spann, puts himself into the fucking guillotine. Barn burner back and forth with Johnny Walker, gets choked out. And then is absolutely the round of his life, round 1 versus Kennedy and Chukwe. Nzechukwu, sorry. Nzechukwu can have, I mean, literally, again, the round of his life gets moved up to the main event slot because of, I forgot who pulled out of that fight. I think it was Derek Lewis. And then he comes out in round 2 and he just like, I mean, he didn't come out in round 2. He just gets absolutely pummeled quickly. One of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. So, yeah, you just can't bet Kutelaba. And Tanner Boser, somebody with poor takedown defense, poor get-up game. Like, I mean, he's quick in terms of, like, being athletic. Like, if he can, like, kind of use his athleticism to quickly get up. But if you hold him down for, like, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, like, he's kind of stuck there. So, I could see Kutelaba kind of try. But that's the other thing. Kutelaba's going to try to smash from that position as well. So, it's just a fucking crazy fight that I really don't want much part of. Maybe Brady can talk me into something because that guy's sharp. What do you got, bud?
Yeah, probably can't talk you into much. I want to stay away from this fight as well. I can see this fight going a couple different ways. Man, if Kutelaba had good fight IQ and good cardio, I'd be max betting him here. I think it's a really, really good matchup for him. I think Tanner Boser's takedown defense and get-up game is non-existent. It's just, if this fight hits the second round, we've seen Ion Kutelaba slow down in pretty much every single fight. There's been a couple fights where he's looked good, like the Devin Clark fight, he looks solid. But more often than not, he is slowing down and falling off a cliff. So to bet on Kutelaba, you got to think he either finishes Boser in the first round, which is going to be tough to do, or you got to think he wins at least 2 out of 3 rounds, which is going to be terrifying. But I'm going to pick Kutelaba, but I'm fine here. He was dog money last week. I wouldn't have minded that, but laying chalk on Kutelaba, it just doesn't seem like the smartest thing to do. So it's a big pass for me.
I really think that if the UFC liked Tanner Boser, they could have given him a much better matchup in his first fight down at light heavyweight. But because they don't, they give him like a absolutely physical, gonna be in your face, try to wrestle you and fuck you up really quick because they were like, because again, like I think he probably was offered fights at light heavyweight before and was just like, nope, not doing it. Nope, not doing it. Rude to the media, like, you know, even in his last fight, I think Brennan Fitzgerald is calling it, and he even says like, don't ask him about going to light heavyweight, he'll make a face. Right? And here he is at light heavyweight, like, because this is where he fucking belonged.
Well, he says it on his interview, same thing. He's like, yeah, I know I'm fighting for my contract. I know Ewan's fighting for his contract, and it's going to come out, be a train crash. But I feel like generally when shit like that gets said, like Boser likes like kind of point fighting from the outside for the most part. Like the Felipe Lins fight was kind of an anomaly when you look at it in the long term. I mean, who else is Tanner? Yeah, I mean, is Tanner Boser really finishing, you know, much anyone else?
Just Lins, I think. Oh, and OSP in the second round.
Oh, OSP. Got it. Yeah, which, once again, I mean, OSP, you know. Kennedy and Nzechukwu, Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann, all guys that could potentially fight at heavyweight given their, like, height and reach. Whereas, like, Boser, like, height, reach, like nearly identical to Kutelaba. So I think some of those worries about getting finished, I don't know. Anyways, Brady, did you already said your piece? Any other counterpoints from the boys here before we fly along?
Nothing, man. I mean, this fight's going to be fun to watch, but from a betting perspective, it's not going to be so fun to bet, I don't think. But yeah, Daz said he got Kutelaba as a dog. I would have liked that. But at chalk, I can't get there.
Stay away.
No touching.
Because again, it has such the ability to be exciting, and all of a sudden it's an under 1.5. Tanner Boser knocks about it. He doesn't knock out anybody. Or it's a fucking snooze fest, and Ion Kutelaba controls him for 9 minutes. Like it's the fucking no.
Yes.
All right, so here we go. We got our next fight. We got Pedro Munoz versus Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. Pedro plus 170, Gutierrez minus 200. The battle of the leg kicks. It's over 2.5 minus 230, under 2.5 plus 185. I think this fight comes down to the fact that Gutierrez is going to have a 3-inch height, 3-inch reach, 3-inch leg reach. And he also has, like a 9% distance defense advantage and a 15% distance accuracy advantage. You could bring up like competition as much as you'd like, but at least Gutierrez has over 100 total minutes of UFC fight time. It's not some sort of small sample size. I think the things he's shown is that if you're going to wrestle him, you have a real path to victory. You have a real chance. It's just if you're expecting to win a striking battle from distance, you're not going to be able to touch him as many times as he touches you. And unless Pedro has really switched up his game, who's the guys that he's actually gone to take down in the UFC? 0 of 1 on Dom Cruz. That doesn't even really count. Same thing on Garbrandt. Didn't really. Brett Johns, he shot 4 takedowns on, apparently landed 0 of them, but he did get 271 seconds of control.
He went 3 of 10 on Damian Stasic
for only 2.5 minutes of control. So once again, it's not like he's ever shown high volume takedowns, high volume control. Only 5% control. In fact, Chris Gutierrez has a higher control rate in his career than Pedro Munoz. So ultimately, I just don't think there's a reason to bet a minus 200. I think that's like, it's basically the perfect line in this spot. You might as well take the over. You might as well take Gutierrez to win by decision. I mean, who's been able to ice Pedro Munoz? And that includes Jose Aldo. And all Sean O'Malley had to poke him in the eye to put him out of there. But but in all seriousness, I think same thing. Aljo couldn't take his back and submit him. He outlanded him on leg kicks, but I think that's the same thing we see here. So it's Chris Gutierrez by decision. Final answer. I don't need to phone a friend, but I'll phone the guru anyways. And that's plus 110, by the way, for Gutierrez decision.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to feel any other type of way. I feel like if it's Pedro Munoz 1.0, Chris Gutierrez is Pedro Munoz 2.0. He's younger, he's faster, his leg kicks are harder. Like they're kind of the same guy, except this is the newer and improved version.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
We don't sing that anti-Semitic bullshit around here. Nah, I mean, but he's a lyrical genius. So I don't know. Listen, I like Chris Gutierrez. You'd have to. Could he be the first one to stop Pedro Munoz? Is that possible? Is it possible? He's on a crazy streak, but at the end of the day, I guess finishing Frankie Edgar and Danaa Bakary are not exactly like, Pedro's got like a head like TB, like a walnut, like it's fucking huge. So yeah, nothing too crazy from me here. I think Chris Gutierrez is one of my more favorite kind of plays of the week because even though minus 200 is fair and kind of steep, I still think he wins at like a 70% clip. So there's
parlay.
Like maybe if you're feeling like a little spicy, I don't know. Pedro's that tough. Pedro's tough. Pedro's a dog, and one thing that does hold me a little bit at reserve is the pace numbers are fairly close. The pace could be quite close, quite even. But I mean, Chris Gutierrez's striking defense is phenomenal at 67%. Brady, what do you got?
Yeah, same thing. I think it's pretty easy. Chris Gutierrez pick here. Not in love with the money line, but I think to improve that, you take that Chris Gutierrez by decision at plus money, just due to the fact that Pedro Munoz is just next level tough. But yeah, Gutierrez, he's younger and he's the much better striker. This fight's going to take place on the feet. Pedro Munoz is not a wrestler. He's not all of a sudden going to start wrestling at 35. If you would wrestle here, yeah, I think he absolutely has a chance. It's just we can't really count on him to do so. So yeah, I like Gutierrez, and I like that Gutierrez by decision at plus money. Munoz has never been finished. How many losses do you have? Like 6, 7 losses, never been finished, something like that. Just next level durable. So yeah, I like that Gutierrez decision.
Love it. Love it. So I think it brings us on along to the end of the main card. So if you guys have been enjoying it so far, just throw a little like on the show. It really helps a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Always free, best bets, best guests. I mean, look, we got Brady on short notice. Had our guest had to drop out, had COVID. So if you've been following on Twitter and know how to connect the dots, you might be able to figure out who we got coming on in the future. But Brady, the man, we had him scheduled for the future, pulled him up to a closer week. It was great. And thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it because once again, without you guys, it's really not the same. So
That's Brady's nickname. Brady the future. Brady the future numbers.
Oh God, but that has bad implications for how.
No, I know that was the point.
Oh God,
you little skeeter, get it together.
How dare you?
Besmirching my
slanderous, slanderous. We'll be getting a cease and desist after the show.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hell yeah, Daz. Best guess always. So, here we go. We got Clay, the Carpenter Guida plus 220 versus Hafa Gifted Garcia minus 260. Or is that just Gabe? Gabe Gifted Green. I think it's both though.
They're both gifted.
They're both gifted.
They're both gifted.
They're both in the young and gifted program in school growing up.
Jesus.
So anyways, yeah, special talents. Clay Guida, the more I come back to this fight, the fact that he's been controlled at a nearly 10% rate, and Alpha Garcia has fought guys like Drakkar Close and not really given up significant control time. He's fought Natan Levy, who looked to do some of that stuff. Gritzmacher can get in the clinch and be nasty, but I mean, he showed that even though he is willing to gas out, he is willing to do that. He is also willing to work on his game a little. I think ever since where Gritzmacher kind of exposed his gas tank after he lost to Hack Press, I think we've seen an improvement, at least, against the guys that have been served up to him. But Clay Guida, if anything, he'll be active from outside, but not with anything particularly damaging. So I think when you look at Clay Guida's most recent wins, you got Scotty Holtzman, Scotty Tuhati, then you got Leonardo Nova Uniao gas out Special Santos. You got Michael fucking Johnson. You got Jim. No, he lost to Jim Miller. What did I do there? OCs. And then he beats BJ, the corpse of BJ Penn, the corpse of Joe Lozon. All these wins that he's gotten recently, it's been against like the what would you call like that division? The Hall of Fame division of those guys where you don't want to see them fight up and coming prospects, but like you let them fight each other, you're going to get exciting fights. Rafa Garcia, he's probably got enough muscle, enough gas, and enough willingness to just. I mean, he's got over 4 takedowns per 15. He shoots 9 takedowns per 15. Rafa probably just wins like a boring decision here. Maybe, I mean, does he?
Whoa. Are we sure about enough gas and talking about Rafa Garcia? Yeah, he outgassed Maheshata, who ended up throwing 138 strikes and missing 100 of them, which is why he was so tired. Because if you were hitting air 100 times, you're exhausted. He gassed out versus the Grits Grootmacher, and he gassed out versus Drakkar Close. And and against Nazarat, I mean, Nazarat just completely outpaced him. Blew him out of the water in his debut there. That's a tough fight to start out with. I don't love, taking a shot on Clay Guida, but like, he's the dog. Like I love Clay. So at plus 220, maybe, but realistically, what I'm really thinking is you kind of fade the narrative. They're lining this fight to go the distance, and maybe it doesn't. So what about a Rafa Garcia submission plus 300?
Submission.
You know, Clay Guida's been submitted how many 6 times in his career?
I think it's 11.
11.
Oh God.
Yeah, so double that. Yeah, it's listen, it's somewhere between 6 and 11. It's a lot. Yeah, no, it is. It's literally 11. He's been submitted. Thank you, Brady. Of course, Brady has it right. 11 submission losses and 8 submission wins for Rafa Garcia. So why not maybe take a stab at that? But yeah, I could also see it going the distance too. So maybe grandma's couch cushion type play on submission. Brady, what do you got?
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Garcia. It's no hot take for me. He's the biggest favorite on the card. It's just these guys are pretty similar. It's just one guy's like 27, the other guy's 41. Definitely towards the end of his career. One thing about the Garcia gas tank, it looked horrible against Gritzmacher, but he moved to a team elevation recently. I'm not sure when it was, but a couple fights ago, and we've seen his gas tank look a lot better. So he's training with really good guys over there. I think that was a great move for a young guy in Garcia. He should have Guida covered pretty much everywhere. In the striking, I don't think Garcia is the best striker in the world, but he's going to have the striking advantage, the power advantage. I think both guys can wrestle really good, but it's going to be Garcia who's probably going to get any control if he's able to get the fight down to the mat, whereas Guida's not going to be able to control Garcia. Garcia's get-up game's elite. And yeah, I think that sub's very live just due to the fact that Clay Guida, anytime he fights somebody with good BJJ, he gets subbed more often than not. So yeah, I thought it might be a little bit sneakier than the odds they're indicating there with Garcia's submission, but I think that's going to be super live. He's a good grappler, and he's training with. I saw he's doing some work with Brian Ortega, Cub Swanson. Those guys are good grapplers, so maybe that rubs off on him. So yeah, give me a Garcia and Garcia inside the distance.
Hell yeah, I can get behind it. So maybe Brady's selling me on something, because one of the things I love most about Brady, and I'll tell him right now, is that he's somebody that, and I don't listen to very many people, especially on Saturdays. Like, I'm trying to really boil my shit down, and sometimes if I'm a little too clouded in what I'm thinking, I just quickly look at who you picked or listen to a breakdown about something, and you lay out things so concisely and clear to me. I'm like, yeah, nope, that makes 100% sense. I love it. I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I see where he's going with that, but I don't fully agree, and I can at least feel how I feel. So, dude, love having you on. You're one of the really sharp minds and one of the great people in the space too.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I love being on. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. So I mean, hey, listen, you guys ready? It's not an uptown girl, it's a downtown TJ Brown.
Uptown girl, she been living in a... All right, we're done. All right, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever really got started, but I appreciate it. Then we got Senor Perfecto. Not quite the guru's singing abilities, but it's a Bill Algio. Oh no, it's okay. We love you anyways, buddy. But we got Billy Algio at -190, downtown TJ Brown at +160, over 2.5. Ooh, that's juicy. -215, under 2.5 at +175. Man, this, we got a one-way ticket to Pace City in this matchup, huh? This one's going to be a battle, huh?
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 I don't know. Are you actually asking us to answer now, or is that rhetorical? What are we doing?
Well, I was giving you a little chance. I saw you on mute. I saw you getting ready to go to action. I didn't know if you had a little something spicy to bring up.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, this is an interesting one in the fact that Algio is somebody that, like, you see kind of get into trouble, right, against Andre Fili. I don't know how you guys scored that round 3, but I certainly scored it for Andre Fili. Brady, how did you feel about that round 3 versus Andre Fili?
Yeah, I'd say Philly, but you can make an argument that Algio won just because he landed. How many shots did he land off his back? Like, it was a lot, like a crazy number.
I just don't really give any credence to it.
Yeah,
but I get it.
If I see it cut open, it's a lot better, but sometimes it's hard to judge.
Like in a street fight, maybe, because you're winning, and I don't know. I don't like it, but I, like you said, respectfully, I can see a way for it. Bill Algio, biggest win of his, the biggest finish, biggest win in his career is kicking the shit out of Herbert Burns until he had to be carried out by his brother. So I'm not. It was one of the funniest.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah, it was really sad, especially because I had Bill Algeo in over 1.5 and it missed by 40 seconds. I was really sad. But I'm like, come on, fight, Herbert. You gotta fight for your family, and he just couldn't do it. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, what do we actually know about the guy? He was able to survive a beating versus Joe Anderson Brito, and then kind of came away with it, won a decision later on. I don't. TJ Brown is somebody that's like allergic to winning. I feel like, or like beating the next step up a competition. He's won a decent amount. It's just like he should be better than he is. Something that Clint had said on Wednesday when we were on his show. He has the wrestling. He's athletic. He's strong. He's got a lot of things working for him. He just sometimes the fight IQ and some of the grappling mistakes become a huge issue for him. Wiz in the house. What's up, buddy? With all that being said, if you don't see a finish, which first off the odds don't, I don't. How can you bet Bill Algeo at like juiced odds here? I just don't think you can. I think TJ Brown could be liable to maybe possibly pull it off. He just pulled it off against Eric Silva. I don't think anybody was really expecting him to do it, but I don't know.
I don't trust his cardio or anything. Like he's got a higher pace everywhere, but I think the thing is you don't want to trust TJ Brown when he's a favorite, but when he's a dog, it's like you can at least understand he is like talented to a degree. And I don't think in this economy you want to bet on like minus 200 or close to that for anyone you think is going to a decision. Because it's not like Bill Algeo is going to win a dominant, pure control decision, or it doesn't even look like he's going to outvolume him based on paper, But right. Yeah, so how can you do that with your money, with your hard-earned money in this economy, trusting the judges in the year 2023 of our Lord? That's all.
Well, that's why that was weird, but that's why I don't know why. That's why I'm saying I'm kind of feeling like a TJ Brown dog shot, like is kind of the only way I was really feeling it. Otherwise, like I said on Clint's show as well, to plug it once again, I would kind of parlay the juiced odds of like this fight going the distance or over 2.5 with another fight I feel later on the card that will also go over.
Bet the split.
That's an interesting thought too. What are the split decision odds? TV?
I didn't see it yet, so let me try to get a look at that. But what do you think about it, Brady? What do you got going on here?
Yeah, I think
split decision plus 400.
Only 400, really?
Not enough, but yeah, they're starting to lower those on some. Yeah. Same thing with Guida, Garcia, Munoz, Gutierrez. Those are the ones I was thinking, if anything, and they got the lower odds plus 400.
Yikes! Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think TJ Brown's live in a sense. It's just you guys brought up some good points. The guy, his fight IQ really lacks. Like he makes a lot of mistakes and he can get away with a lot of these mistakes against like a Kai Kamaka or like an Eric Silva. But Bill Algeo, he has a black belt in BJJ. So I could see TJ Brown taking down Algeo, getting reversed instantly. Like Brown makes a lot of mistakes on the mat, like a lot. And then it happens every single fight. Even against Eric Silva, he made a mistake in the first round and got reversed. So I don't like the fight IQ. I don't like the cardio. We saw him gas out bad in the Jordan Griffin fight where he took down Griffin like 8 times. Griffin got back up each and every time. And that's kind of what Bill Algeo is going to do. Algeo can be taken down, but he pops back up every time. So I think that's going to get Brown fits. See, I like Algeo here, but I think Brown is going to absolutely have some success. It's just I don't see him holding down Algeo, and I don't see him out grappling Algeo. And on the feet, Algeo is not the best striker in the world, but he does have a lot of volume there. And I think he's going to have the better cardio, the better fight IQ. So I like Algeo here, but I think it's going to be competitive early on. But I expect Algeo to kind of take over as that fight goes on there. Minus 200, it's getting a little bit wild, but it looks like money's coming back in on TJ Brown. So minus 185 Algeo. I don't think that's the worst look in the world. And then I also thought about maybe a sneaky like Algeo round 3, just in case Brown does gas out like he did in the Jordan Griffin fight. But I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, I like Algeo here. I think Brown had a really good matchup against Eric Silva in his last fight, where Eric Silva just proved to be kind of a phony a little bit, whereas Bill Algeo I don't think is a phony. And it looked like Eric Silva like quit in the second round. You could tell that he just didn't want to be there mid-second round. Bill Algeo is going to be there for the full 15. So I like Algeo here quite a bit, but I think Brown is going to have some success early.
That's what's interesting is can he sustain his success? Because you look at Bill Algeo, I mean, he's given up at least 3 minutes of control time to all of his UFC opponents except for Herbert Burns. So, you've also seen TJ Brown accrue triple digit, seconds in terms of control time in 4 out of 6 of his fights there. So you have to expect TJ Brown to be on top at some point. So I actually think that if you like Bill Algeo, then you're going to get a live a live betting opportunity on Bill Algeo while TJ Brown's on top, probably maybe even winning round 1. And you can get that minus 190 back to probably even money or even plus money, and hope that Bill Algeo wins round 2 and 3, maybe even gets a finish. But that's probably not going to happen. So you're hoping Bill Algeo pulls out the decision. But I kind of like that. I just kind of put out there that live betting opportunity. Brady, what do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think Brown is going to definitely have his moments round 1. Don't know if he wins round 1, but he'll have his moments.
Definitely interested to see that fight.
Love it. Love it. So here we are moving on to probably our biggest contender for fight of the night. I would imagine we got Brandon Raw Dog Royval versus Matthias Nikolao. Don't really have a nickname. So plus 175 Raw Dog and minus 205 Nikolao. We got over 2.5 at minus 105, under 2.5 at minus 125. Royval's got a 3-inch height and a 2-inch reach advantage, and he's got an absolutely sickening pace advantage. The issue is it comes at the detriment of his accuracy and detriment of his striking defense. And at times his chin. Not necessarily that he's getting like absolutely brutally hurt, but he's just so off balance in the way that he strikes that he's susceptible to getting knocked down even if he doesn't get hurt. And against a guy like Nikolao, you really don't want to get put in those positions. You're facing a precision counterpuncher who's comfortable on the back foot, who has a BJJ black belt. I don't think you could just easily submit him like you would a guy like Luis Smolka. It's just, once again, Nikolao, I don't know if I necessarily expect him to finish Royval here. It's just with the pace Royval brings, he might bring the finish upon himself, as he has many times in his career. So, I mean, at the under 2.5 at minus 125 actually seems quite a little spicy.
It's really spicy. I really like violence in this spot, and I also really like Matthias Nikolao. I think Matthias, as you can see, he lands at over 15% more accurately, while also being 15% more defensively sound. People were saying in his last fight versus Schnell, it's going to be interesting to see, since he likes to be, conflict avoidant, like skirt around the cage. It'll be interesting to see somebody that brings the action to him. Well, guess what? You bring the chaos to somebody that will bam, bam, real quick inside and then get outside. You're the one that gets hurt, not him. So I have a feeling that, like, if there's a finish, it's because Royval does something dumb or puts himself in a precarious spot, and Matthias is able to avoid that chaos and craziness and create some of his own. He's just one of the more high IQ defensively sound fighters, dating Luana Pinejo. So that's obviously some high fight IQ right there. So I really do like him to get it done here. Big cage too, plenty of distance for him to do it. Yeah, Nikola's one of my favorite spots on the card. Brady, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a weird fight for me just because Brandon Royval fights are so tough to kind of break down because he brings a style that you don't really see a style like Brandon Royval. The guy's a complete madman. He has no regards for his own safety, no striking defense. He'll get knocked down, he'll get right back up and knock you down. I think he's going to bring a wild pace into this fight, and that's not really something Nikolao likes to do. Nikolao likes to kind of take it slow, low volume, pick his spots, very technical. No doubt in my mind, Nikolao's the much, much better fighter here, but Royval's definitely probably going to have his moments. What I like more than anything, it's the under, just because I think Royval's going to bring a style to where he's either going to get knocked out with his no striking defense. And man, Nikolao hits very hard. I think Nikolao is like second overall in terms of knockdowns and flyweights, first being Davis and Figueiredo. So this guy's a ton of power, and Royval blocking punches with his face that could lead to him getting knocked out. And then, like I said, Royval has a lot of power in his own right, and Nikolao has been finished in both of his losses by knockout, or 2 of his 3 losses, 2 by knockout. So I'm going the under here, not really picking a side. The much better fighter is Nikolao, and I don't think it's close, but Royval is going to make this a very interesting fight, I think. So give me the under. I don't think it's a bad look in a Royval fight. Royval's only been over once, and it was that weird Bontorin fight where Bontorin took him down like 50 times.
There's a couple things I want to highlight quickly before we move on. Is Brandon Royval pulled out in December versus Amir Albazi due to a broken wrist. So 3 months, 3.5 months, broken wrist. Is he fully healed? We knew Kevin Holland. He just came out and said he was not fully healed. He was basically one-handed. We all speculated that his hand was not fully healed. He signed the contract hoping it would be healed. It wasn't. Great. He still got it done. It was amazingly impressive, but something I have to be concerned about here. And then one thing that does interest me, Nikolao, again, like you said, maybe if he gets the finish, right? Nikolao by KO plus 300, by submission 400, by finish in general plus 165, still not terrible. If you're gonna play Royval, he's not submitting Nikolao, who's what's up, Mushroom? Good to see you, bud. Always happy you're here. I don't think he's submitting Nikolao, who's a wonderful BJJ black belt in his own right. I think Royval would get the knockout. Royval by KO is plus 900. And Nikolao in his 2 losses was knocked out in round 1 twice. I mean, it's probably due to weight cut stuff, but you can't just let that completely slide. So maybe you do a grandma's couch cushion type play. Plus 900 is just way too juicy.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Like that, I feel like that's Royval's path to victory is that KO. I see plus 950 too. Like what?
They think it's more on. They literally think he's more jiu-jitsu sub or decision, which is crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense kind of in the fact that again he beats Matt Schnell by submission, he beats Kai Kara-France by submission, he beats Tim Elliott by submission. Yeah. Right. So if you're just wiki capping, that's where you come away with it. But us, we do a little bit more than that.
Oh, guru.
That's how we beat these bookies. So meanwhile, he'll win by submission. We'll look like fucking jerk offs. But it's I plus 900, plus 950. You can't thumb your nose at that.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, did we cook that one fully?
I think
so.
Full done. It's at full doneness. All right, cool. So awesome. The fight that we've all been waiting for.
Talk about full doneness. Talk about burnt. Talk about cooked. Talk about spent. Chewed up. You up.
God, if there's anything that I've been waiting to do all year, it's to play juice on Zach Cummings.
I thought it was to enter Zachman's stats. I thought that's what you've been waiting all year to do.
Okay.
You were like,
let me tell you something. It takes a lot for me to have to enter somebody's stats these days. I'm generally caught up. Ed fucking Herman, though. This guy, I thought he was donezo, okay? He had 5 canceled fights in the past 2 years. He had 1 fight that actually happened. But yeah, ultimately, Ed Herman, what are you doing here? Zach Cummings, what are you doing here? That's the real question for both of you. I think this fight is just disgusting, sloppy, but they got the over 2.5 at minus 190. So let's remember, Mike Rodriguez damn near finished Ed Herman if they didn't call it a nut shot. Do we see a Zach Cummings body shot KO coming at some point in this fight? God, no, don't fucking bet it, or else Brady and Weezy are coming after you with the fucking orderlies are coming to take you away. So ultimately, just take a break. Just this fight's probably not even going to be enjoyable to watch. So if you got a little joint rolled up, go smoke that jizzler while this fight's going on.
Jesus Christ. Go smoke that. What? Listen, Zach Cummings, minus 225 favorite, said in press conference today, he said the R word and not the one that I said earlier as a quote, movie quote, the retirement word. And when you say retirement at minus 225, I don't care that you're training at Factory Muay Thai with a room full of killers. It didn't matter to me. I'm nervous now. Ed Herman, no. What are you doing? Apparently, he's got his own fight promotion now out of Vancouver with like a Fight Pass sort of like view to like I think he's about to be making money. So like, is this like his last payday to kind of like spend another 50 G's towards that and then move on with his career? Is he done too? Is this like a winner you get to retire and loser you have to retire? Like what are we doing here? But what I do know as a wiki capper is that Zach Cummings has 12 wins by submission and Ed Herman has 8 losses. So give me Zach Cummings by submission at plus 400, grandma's couch cushion style. Otherwise, like, again, what the fuck are we doing here?
I'm
Like,
gonna throw
what's happening? Brady, what do you got for me?
Yeah, this is disgusting. Like if Zach Cummings was fighting anybody other than Ed Herman, I'd be betting the dog here, but he's fighting 42-year-old Ed Herman who has about a round and a half of gas, if that. Yeah, I don't even know. Like I'm not betting this fight. I don't recommend anybody bets this fight. I was maybe thinking of like the fight doesn't go, but I could also see this being a fight where they just don't do anything the whole time, which would be very frustrating. See, I can't put any money here. Zach Cummings, there's a ton of red flags talking about retirement. Apparently had like a big injury, had surgery. He's moving up a weight class. He's going to be very small for the division, but he's fighting Ed Herman. So I don't know, man. It's a pass. I don't want to lay chalk on Zach Cummings, and I don't want to bet Ed Herman as a dog. I don't know. This fight is, I don't know. I don't know what to describe this fight, but it's not a fight I'll be betting on.
I will have to have a grandma's couch cushion play on Zach Cummings by submission, but it won't. There's no tracking to it, and if you ask me, gun to my head, I'll tell you it never fucking happened. So we're moving along.
Yeah, I think we spent enough time on this godforsaken fight. All right, here we go. We made it. It's wow. When I was entering the lines for this one, we got Jillian Robertson, the Savage Robertson versus Piera La Fiera Rodriguez. Pretty solid all around. It's kind of funny. Piera's actually older. Jillian, with all of her UFC experience, over 121 minutes in the octagon. She's still only 27 years old. I just 5'5". She's got a couple inches of height on Piera, but no reach. She definitely doesn't have a striking advantage. I mean, that can be said about just about any opponent that Jillian Robertson fights. She still like kind of jumps into her takedown attempts. She looks like really scared of combinations coming back the other way. But is she opportunistic? Is she willing to, go 15 minutes if she has to grind and go for the choke? Sure. But I just think throat cuddles might not work as easily this time. We're talking about an undefeated fighter in Piera Rodriguez. Jillian, she's difficult to finish in her own right. I mean, yeah, she did kind of get overwhelmed in there by Macy Barber, but she hangs in against Tyler Santos, right? Miranda Maverick, she doesn't get finished. JJ Aldrich, she has a tough time. She has to strike on the feet, but even though she gets outstruck really badly in the optics, like she hangs in there by the numbers. But I just think Piera's even a level up from JJ in the boxing and athleticism. I think Piera's even a threat to hit her with those trip takedowns like Piotr Jan style. It's not necessarily for extreme levels of control or anything, but she's willing to put you on your ass just to kind of like make a point. I just don't think she should play in those positions with Jillian. Jillian might be a little bit bigger come fight time, but personally, I don't trust someone making a move back down to strawweight here, where she probably should have tried to be earlier on in her career. It's just this specific matchup. I got to take Piera, who's now flipped to the underdog at plus 105. It's going to be a straight play for me. I'm not going too crazy on it, but that's my pick there.
I'm really sketched out all over with this fight. I like Jillian Robertson as an underdog. If you had that play, I don't mind it. Listening to her interview today, I think she said she was like, I don't know, 4 or 6 pounds off of making weight already, which is, you like to see that. So it seems like the cut's going well for her. I'm not like, I get it. Like, obviously, if she could cut the weight well, I get why she's cutting. I just was surprised after a win versus Maria Agapova that you cut. Now after a win, you decide to cut. So interesting thought to me. Yeah, I mean, when you beat Kay Hansen and Sam Hughes, it's tough to feel really, really good about you. I mean, Sam Hughes has cashed a couple tickets as a dog now, look decent when she's able to continue to use her best weapon, which is her cardio. So Pierre Rodriguez, man, just was able to out grapple Kay Hansen and Sam Hughes, which is important, I think, in this fight, because if you don't like Jillian by submission, I don't think you can really bet her, because she's somebody that has shown that she'll fire takedowns from like outside of range without setting them up properly, and she's somebody that will pull guard. The JJ Aldridge fight is just something that really sticks out so in my mind. Obviously, again, she wasn't able to outmuscle her, and that's why she's cutting weight. It makes sense. I just think Pierre is a dog, but God, I'm all over the place. I think I just like the fight to go the distance. And I lean the Jillian side. So Brady, maybe this is a fight that I'll be listening to you on Saturday about. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the dog money is probably the way to go. So I know Jillian was like, I saw it last week. She was like plus 140, and I meant to look into it. I wish I would have, because I would have taken that for sure. It's just now that where the line's at, it is going to be a dogger pass on the Piera side, just because I think it's going to be a close fight. There's some question marks with Jillian coming down a weight class here, and I think Piera Rodriguez, she's pretty solid. Like, she has good wrestling in her own right. She's gonna have the better takedown defense here in this matchup. But obviously, if the fight hits the mat, Robertson's a BJJ black belt, incredible grappler. But Rodriguez is training with Tabitha Ricci, Mackenzie Dern on the daily, so I don't think she's gonna be too out of her depths on the mat. And then on the feet, it's Rodriguez all day. Like, I don't think Rodriguez is like an amazing striker. It's just Robertson is a really, really bad striker. So yeah, I see it being a close one. I think the dog money is where it's at. So at this point, the dog being Rodriguez, I'll go with third. But I don't know if I'm going to get there from a betting perspective. But yeah, really, really interesting fight here. But the pick for me is going to be Rodriguez with not a ton of confidence. Should be a close one.
I don't hate it at all. I definitely want to see them face off. Got to see Jillian make weight and all those types of important things.
Definitely. Well, I'll be on the Piera side, but I do agree on the going the distance, my guru. Here we go.
Wait, what is the fight goes the distance? What is that line?
So the over 2.5 was minus 125, but the fight to go,
which you have to actually, when you actually think, if we slow down and actually think about like that, that's fucking crazy. It's a strawweight fight. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why would it not? Like, why?
They don't have it listed on DraftKings yet, so I'm curious. I'm taking a look at FanDuel.
You're gonna get like even money, minus 110 or almost plus 100. That fight goes the distance if that's the line that they're leaving it at. Which
right, just not officially on the board yet, but yeah, that's the trend right there.
I actually kind of like that. It's almost a forced play because it's a women's strawweight fight. Like what is the finishing percentage of women's strawweight fights? It can't be that high.
Yeah, it's very true. All we got is
but this is my point. You ready for it? Even Jillian Robertson, your fighter, your flyweight, right, with the most finishes in history, has a 66% career finish rate. That's not that high either. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's good, obviously, again, for women, but like that's not fantastic. It's not amazing.
No.
So over. I can
it. All right, so we move along to our next fight here. We got Lando Groovy Venata versus Daniel the Golden Boy Zellhuber. Oh, man. So Lando at plus 105 and Zellhuber minus 125. I think, in the debut, we had, against Trey Ogden, and Zellhuber was like the biggest favorite on the card, like minus 300, minus 400. Even teetering towards minus 500 as the closing lines came in towards fight time. And I think here now at this point, I mean, we see Venata, and it's like, a one-armed guillotine choke to Jordan. One of those ones where you should be able to fight the hand, not even the hands, just the singular hand early in the first round. But it just seems like, he's willing to be in bad positions in fights. He's willing to get point deductions. He's been in a lot of weird, sketchy situations. And Lando Venata, I just don't know how much more He's been improving his game recently. He dropped down to 145, goes back up to 155. And Zell Huber, I just think like this is his like, hey, buddy, you get a second chance here. Like, I think a guy so young, 23 years old, who just made his debut, and then now, he's getting a second chance here. I'm willing to give him a chance, especially at minus 125. If he was in the minus 250 range, there would be no way it would be a legitimate line issue. But, could be a hindsight nice little play here. I don't know about a finish. I don't know that he's necessarily putting Venata out, but I think there's plenty of value on minus 125 as a straight money line.
I'm so disgusted with Mr. Daniel, the Golden Toilet Zellhuber, from his
What's going on?
Trey Ogden performance. I just one of the worst showings you could have ever seen. I don't know how. Look at these stats. It says that he threw 178 strikes. I have no idea how that's fucking possible. It looked like he did absolutely, positively nothing that fight.
Macy Barber strikes.
Absolutely ridiculous. Just not a fan. At the same time, you look on the other side, Lando Groovy Venata, somebody that you watched go to war with Bobby Green once upon a time, is just like, even the Mike Grundy fight was at least fun. I just am not sure how many of those type of performances he can even still pull out. I didn't understand the line versus Charles Jourdain at all. It was like pick 'em. Charles Jourdain is like legitimately dangerous. That made no fucking sense. Took Charles Jourdain nice and easy. Zellhuber though, I think like you said, they're giving this guy another chance to redeem himself, possibly, right? Is Lando gonna knock you out? No, man. Lando's not knocking you out. Maybe you're getting it like right. His last knockout is the spinning wheel kick versus John McDessie. The wheel kick versus John McDessie. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, that's not happening. So, Zellhuber minus 125. I feel like everybody feels how I feel. Recency bias. They hate him. They think he's the golden toilet, not the golden boy. I'm unfortunately, begrudgingly, think that not only is the Daniel Zellhuber win, but I think that there might be some value at minus 125. Lando, like we said, jumping weight classes. You don't really like to see that. Even though he's 30, he's been in the UFC a decent amount of times. First UFC fight in 2016. You have to wonder what's left of his contract and things of that nature, because you got to wonder what he has to offer. So maybe he can, like, what I'm saying, like, what does Lando Nata in terms of offense like really even do? Like, he's landing 5 strikes a minute, so that's pretty decent at a 43% clip. But he's got a decent amount of volume with I don't know, like, takedown efficiency is okay, but he's really not using them at all. He's barely shooting. He's not even shooting 3 takedowns for 15 minutes and is maybe landing 1. So that's not what he's doing. He's going to kickbox with a guy that's 7 years younger than him, 4 inches taller than him, and a 6-inch reach advantage. That's why minus 125 is value.
Yeah. Quite simply, I think he's been working with the right guys. It's just a matter of sometimes you can have like those moments in the cage where you have like those crystallizing moments when you're making your first appearance, your debut. Sometimes you can solve those issues in the cage while you're still in there, and sometimes it takes to your next appearance. I think all the talent that we saw from him on the regional scene, it speaks volumes. And I think a guy that we saw is such a big favorite now can get a better line on it. I get it. We saw what we saw, but at the same time, he's willing to try,
Dude, just don't be fucking surprised if this fight, but by the way, I love this fight to go the distance.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if this fucking distance fight, like, he is still low output, because you watch him beat Lucas Almeida on Dana White Contender Series. Yeah, it was like an impressive win, but kind of not really. Watch that first fucking round. He was the same person he was versus Trey Ogden. Tentative, low output, couple shots at a time, like, just not good enough. So don't be surprised if at 11 pace strikes a minute, That if you know what I mean, if he does, if 11 attempted strikes, almost 12 strikes attempted per minute from Lando Venata, that he doesn't somehow scare Zellhuber into like
Right.
being a little golden toilet boy. So
Jeez.
I'm not happy, man.
All right.
Dude, do you remember we had like 5 units on him? It was horrible. I'm not trying to bring it up like that, but geez Louise. Big Bad Brady, we miss you, my man.
It's all good.
We hope you are back soon.
We will keep on rolling along, and we will allow him all the time he needs to catch up.
Absolutely.
So we got for our next fight, we got Bruna, the Una Brazil, versus Denisa. I got out wrestled by Loma Lukbunmi Gomes. Not ideal from either side of things. So Bruna, I think one of the things I could feel comfortable about is that, you know, she should have a decent size advantage. She should have a decent athleticism advantage. And Gomes hasn't necessarily showed great defense at any stage, I would say. Whether it was on the regional scene, she's getting beat up before she gets a win late in the third round, or even, you know, against Loma. I mean, she's not doing so hot from distance, and Loma's able to, you know, get a lot of control against someone that should have had the grappling advantage. So in this spot, I think Brazil might be someone to fade in the future. But as this line keeps on closing, and now minus 165, we're open up a bit wider, you know, in the minus 200 something range. And yeah, I got to give a shout out to Clint, who got Gomes at plus 180, because that's certainly a much more attractive number. But personally, for me, I mean, at this point, I'm almost getting to the idea that, like, I don't know that Brazil will necessarily finish Gomes. I think that she's willing to put up a fight and stick in there. But, you know, I think Brazil should be the money line side here. But hey, before we pass off to Guru for this one, Brady, what were your thoughts on the Daniel Zellhuber fight? Nice to have you back, my friend.
Man, someone was just trying to like hack my computer or something. I'm not sure what happened, but that was bad.
They must have saw you trying to place a bet on Ed Herman versus
They must have. That was weird. They were like typing your password and then it kept blowing it up, and I don't know. That was weird, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. Missed most of your guys' breakdown with Zellhuber, but I was kind of tempted on the Zellhuber money line. It was around minus 115. It looks like money's coming in on him now. I think it's probably a good buy low spot on him. So if anything, it's Zellhuber or pass, but I'm not really running to the window for it. But yeah, I like him to bounce back here and make up for his last fight.
What do you think about this fight being in my fight goes the distance parlay as maybe possibly that other fight?
I'm not sure what the line is on that, but yeah, I think it does go the distance.
I think I parlay it at plus, I don't know, plus money.
All right. So, Guru, your thoughts on Brazil versus Gomes?
I don't love this fight from like really any sort of perspective. Like, this fight's fucking crazy, man. Brazil, somebody who's super athletic, right? Wanted to be a soccer player. Had that insane head kick finish on Dana White Contender Series. Reminiscent of Valentina Shevchenko, Jessica I type shit. It was really good. Hit her with the foot. I mean, it was dirty. She's a dynamic striker, strong Muay Thai, uses her spinning techniques. Most successful when at range. So she's going to need to keep it there for somebody like Denise Gomes, who, has a high pace and activity rate, varied level of kicking attacks, decent defensive grappling, but I'm just not sure like how much offensive wrestling she's going to do or be able to do. She's somebody you've seen like, just take a fucking beating and come back to win fights. You watched her on the regional scene. Who's she fighting? She was fighting. I don't know how to pronounce the girl's name. Duty Ava. The girl had just Duty Ava had just come back. Just come back from pregnancy, and Duty Ava is an underdog and kicking the snot out of her in her Invicta fight. Actually, I think it was the other way around. Actually, somehow Gomes is actually underdog. Anyway, Duty Ava coming off of pregnancy, wins the first 2 rounds, knocks her down 3 times in round 2, is absolutely brutalizing her. But I think that Dudieva was completely demoralized that Gomes was still somehow alive. And in round 3, so she gets the finish in round 3 with just working the body. And then that's how she gets the call up to Contender Series from that, and beats a lower level, smaller girl in a very boring decision. So, and then she gets, in trouble with Luma Lukbome, who, again, that's so fucking weird, with Loma thinking the round was over with 30 seconds left, and Denise trying to pull Loma down for a takedown, and Loma just fell right on top of her. Just really, really sloppy stuff. So, while I like, or kind of am okay with, a plus 180 type grandma's couch cushion stab, at plus 140, I definitely don't like it as much. And I just kind of think Bruna Brazil is probably too athletic, and we'll get it done. But nothing I'm trying to bet my house on. Brady, what do you think?
Yeah, nothing here for me. This line has crashed down a lot, huh? Looks like Brazil's only minus 149. She was like minus 230. I could have swore, yeah, minus 230 she was at one point. Gomes is now plus 129. She was plus 200. So yeah, I would have not mind that Gomes plus 200. I like Brazil here. I think she's the better striker. I think Gomes, she's still very green, very young. Don't like her striking defense. Don't like her wrestling. I kind of feel like Brazil keeps us on the feet and outpoints Gomes across 3 rounds. But it could be close. It's WMMA. You don't really want to lay chalk on, somebody making their debut. But the lines came down so much at this point where I just have no interest in either side. But wish I would have looked into this a little bit sooner, because Gomes plus 200 was probably the move. But yeah, plus 129 need a lot better than that.
I did follow Clint. I did take a half unit flyer on Gomes plus 180. I'm just, I don't have to commit to it any which way. It'll let me cash out, obviously.
Be some line
So,
movement.
yeah, little CLV. We'll see what I do with it. TB, you're muted if you were talking. So
Beautiful. Nice. So as we move on here, we got Head Kicks MMA own Eren Phillips versus Gaston. Can I defend a guillotine at this point? Bolaños.
that was the most insane. Brady, you've watched so much regional tape, right? Way more than you've been handicapping fighting so long. Have you seen a more ridiculous guillotine choke give up than that one?
No, he's gave up, I think, a couple. He's been submitted 2 times.
Not ideal.
The one versus the guy he's fought twice, Carey, the first one.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like the highest I've ever seen someone in a standing position without breaking out of it. And next thing you know, the guy's like just fucking unconscious on the mat and he even like landed on, like, the guy Carey pulls guard on him. Anyways, all right. I don't think Eren Phillips is going to come out here and be some like submission master, but at the end of the day, I mean, getting a guy, Gaston Bolaños, at minus 195, making his debut here, and he's on paper going to be the shorter guy. I want to see them at face-offs. I want to see what kind of shape Phillips is coming in, because if he's just out here to promote Head Kicks MMA, win or lose and take his UFC check and, buy a couple extra heavy bags at the gym, like, that's also a very possible thing for a guy about to make his 4th UFC fight over the span of, 12 years? His first fights were in like 2011 in the UFC. Yeah. So it's a great question what either guy's doing here, but sickly as it is, I mean, I'm not recommending you bet the fight. I'm just saying, if you were going to spend your hard-earned money in this economy, don't put it on minus 195 Gaston Bolaños. At least take, listen, Eren Phillips by decision prop, whenever that drops, there might be a little bit of a factor there. He could be the guy. He stuffed a few takedowns against Jack Shore. He ends up reversing, getting a little, 2 seconds of cage control time here or there. But ultimately, I just think that he would be the guy that I would trust to not give up his neck in a horrible guillotine. But no one's subbing each other here. I just don't trust either guy. So don't take my word for this fight.
What do you mean you don't trust either guy? They're both well-proven veterans of the sport. Dude, I mean, this is crazy stuff. I thought, I was like, Eren Phillips, is that the guy that Is that the guy that got knocked out by Chimaev? Like, I didn't know I couldn't remember who was. That's John Phillips, obviously. I couldn't remember who the guy was. Like, I knew he'd fought in the UFC. Fought Jack Shore 3 years ago. I mean, what the, like, really? Owner of Head and Kicks MMA, which is a decent gym. It's just kind of interesting to see or to think, like, what exactly Aaron Phillips looks like if he's not getting grapple fucked. His UFC fights versus Sam Sicilia, Matt Hobar, and Jack Shore are all spent. I mean, look at that stats. I've never seen it that 76% opponent control rate. I mean, he has spent more than 3/4 of his UFC fight time on his back, like being controlled. Like, that's fucking crazy. Gaston is not by any means a wrestler. It's not anything that we've seen about him. Flat-footed, stalking. He's stalking type opponent. He stalks his opponents. He's an active offensive footwork type of guy. He's got decent feints. He's got a lethal spinning attack because he knocked out one guy with a spinning back fist, which was pretty cool. Good at distance management, decent calf kick. High kicks help him find the range. Very active with his kicks, but again, of all the Bellator prospects and people, it's so rare that they bring a Bellator talent over. And Gaston spent basically his entire MMA career in Bellator. So it's very interesting to see what the fuck happens here. I did take a very small shot on Phillips at plus 165 because, again, I think they might just be trying to stick it to Bellator. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening here. So probably best to just stay the fuck away, though, if I'm just being honest. Brady, maybe you got something saucy, something sharp here. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't really like a lot of these prelims, man. This is one of them I just want to stay away. Looks like some money is coming in on Phillips. And yeah, I liked what I saw from Bolaños in terms of the striking. He has a good striking background, Muay Thai fights, kickboxing fights outside of MMA. Yeah, really good striker, lots of power. But I mean, the ground game is just atrocious. Like, his takedown defense is okay, but once the fight hits the mat, he really doesn't know what to do down there. And that kind of concerns me against the black belt and Eren Phillips. But on the Phillips side, he hasn't fought in almost 3 years. Not really sure, if he's taking his career seriously or not. Looks like he's doing a lot of coaching outside of the UFC here. It's just a bit. I mean, this is a big pass for me. It's a dogger pass from a money line standpoint, but even then, I'm not running to the window to bet Eren Phillips on this one, and I'm definitely not laying minus 200 on a newcomer Bolaños who hasn't fought anybody, hasn't proven anything. Yeah, just a big giant pass here for me.
Yep, that's a 1-800 for anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, we really appreciate the honesty. We hate when somebody's going to try to sit here and force plays, and this is why I respect Brady so much as well, because he's somebody that, again, has I don't want to say master, because we all make mistakes here and then, but he's somebody that really picks his spots. 12 fights, he'll give you 5 bets. 14 fights, he'll give you 7 bets. I mean, he's really making sure that he's betting on what he wants to and not wasting any sort of units on anything he doesn't.
That is true.
All right, here we go. We did it. We made it to the fight that the entire world's been waiting for. We got Jocelyn La Pantera Edwards versus Lucy Pogilova.
What happened to you? TV's so tired. He's got tests. He's got homework. He's leaving for Mickey Mouse Land Saturday morning, so we're not even watching the fights together. He hasn't had one sharp nickname all night.
2 exams. Whoa! Not one sharp nickname.
You didn't create
ones earlier.
Which one?
Well, we were just adding the guillotine into the nickname the fight before. I thought both of you guys enjoyed that.
I like that one, yeah.
Yeah, Gaston, I don't know how to defend a guillotine Bolaños, okay. Then we had another one earlier on. I think we had Billy the Squid was one,
Okay.
We had a couple other ideas that were in there.
Right.
You told me not to force it.
I retract my statement. You didn't do none.
Lucy the Putilova. Listen, I think if we see the same fighter that came back from her time off, a bit of a new jam SBG who's been focusing on the offensive wrestling game plan with her. she's still pretty young at 28 for all the experience she has, and even so, Jocelyn Edwards has put in, in her 5 UFC fights. I mean, hey, she's going to the distance because she's not finishing anybody, and she ain't getting finished. However, if Ramona Pascual knew how to finish anybody, she would have capitalized on the body shots. I mean, she had Jocelyn seriously hurt to the body and was just like, all right, I'm cool throwing 86 strikes over the course of the 3-round fight. I don't think that anything Jocelyn does is particularly damaging. I think she generally relies on her length and ability to just kind of cruise from distance. And if you're able to have any sort of wrestling, like offensive wrestling at all against Jocelyn Edwards, she loves to give up offensive control time. And it's not just to the likes of like Carol Hosa, which like I'll give you a pass for that fight. I can't give you a pass for the Jessica Rose Clark fight. I just can't. If you were really a dangerous submission grappler, you would have submitted Jessica Rose Clark, as we saw with who was our friend, the master of the arm bars.
Jasmine?
No,
the other one.
Russian.
Stephanie Edgar. I always can.
No, not
What?
Stephanie Edgar.
Which one got her in an arm? Jessica Rose Clark in an armbar then?
She was terrible. I mean, she like barely won any UFC fights. I just don't have our notes page up at this second. But
who armbarred Rose Clark?
Yes,
Edgar.
Also from Top Control, she had another fighter that got her.
Julia Stolyarenko.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They both. She literally lost by back-to-back round 1 arm bars.
Yes. So, anyways,
it's so funny.
I like Wu Yanan even almost got a full 5 minutes of control against Jocelyn Edwards, whereas Wu Yanan gets out controlled 293 seconds to 4 seconds versus Lucy Pudilova. Now, I think in those 2 years off, it's clear that she's willing to at least game plan going into a fight, finding out what her opponent's weaknesses. And I think it's quite clear if you go out and wrestle Jocelyn, you should be fine. And it's not like Jocelyn's going to come out and wrestle Lucy, which is what Lena Landsberg did, which is what Liz Carmouche did. Antonina Shevchenko even was able to turn the tables and get a reversal and get the win and pound out. Justine Kish was able to throw, it was a bit more of the boxing combos, I feel like, in that fight. But even so, that's a few years ago at this point, and I think we saw a bit of an evolution. So I'm willing to take Lucy. I got her -140, feeling sad because now she's -135. Thought it would go the other way.
The biggest problem with Lucy Podolova is her absolutely abysmal striking accuracy. Lands 30% of her strikes, goes 14 of 50 versus Wu Yanan, 25 versus 137 versus Justine Kish. I mean, somehow lands 99 strikes of 319 versus Irina Aldana a million years ago. So that is the problem. If you tell me that this fight stays standing and Lucy Podolova doesn't get her grappling going, I want absolutely no part of Lucy at all. I just feel like the push kicks aren't going to be enough to keep Lucy Podolova at range. So she's going to get the takedowns. And when she does, Jocelyn Edwards is a flipped over turtle. Like, she's not getting up. So I do like Lucy Podolova. I like her by decision, but we've watched multiple chick fights open up cards and dogs start cashing early. So is it possible it's one here? If you got Jocelyn Edwards at, maybe +140 or something, like, yeah, I don't mind that, but I don't know, +115, I'm not as turned on by it. Brady, I know that you've been itching for this one. Jocelyn Edwards, one of your crushes. So I'll let you put the finishing touches on this card.
Not with that blue hair she has, but yeah, it's one of those fights where it almost seems too easy. Like, Pudilova, if she wrestles and gets this fight down to the mat, she should win. It's just, how many times have we expected, somebody to go out there and implement that game plan? So it's one of those fights where I feel like if I do pull the trigger on Pudilova, I'm going to be breaking my TV with a baseball bat when she stands at distance for Jocelyn Edwards. But hey, I mean, the game plan is there to win the fight. It's just, will she take it? We will see Saturday. She should. And if she does, it's going to be a pretty easy dub. If she doesn't, she's probably going to lose. So it's just a fight I really don't want anything to do with it. A lot of these prelims I'm staying away from, and this is one of them.
Wise advice from our guy, Big Bad Brady. DFS by the numbers, killing it with us. Another amazing card. Dude, thanks so much for stepping up on short notice. I cannot
man.
believe it's been way too long since we've had you back. I promise you, as long as you're willing to come on, we will have you back half as soon, like half the time, way quicker.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Whenever I'm free, yeah, for sure. I'm always down to come on.
Oh, yeah.
I would appreciate it.
Really appreciate you, as Guru said many a time, but I'll add on one more for good measure. Truly one of the sharper minds in the game, and the concise approach you bring and your ability to break down a fight without, spending too much time on it, and like to make you feel confident in the approach. Really appreciate how you tackle it, and wishing you continued success in your personal life as well. I know you've had a lot of great stuff going on, and happy to see you crushing it, my brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you guys, the chat, also, before we let Guru take it away and anything. So, Brady, did you have any final words before the Guru signs us off here?
No, I mean it's a great card. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to this main card. Some of the prelims, I'm not really looking forward to. Like the Ed Herman fight, it's whatever. But
Yeah.
overall, it's a good card. It's not an Apex card. We're in Kansas City. I like that. So yeah,
Yes.
looking forward to, and hopefully making some money would be nice as well.
Hell yeah.
All right, so Brady, who retires? Does Ed Herman retire? Does Zach Cummings retire? Or do they both retire? Or do neither retire? What's your
I'd be
bet?
shocked if they both didn't retire, no matter what.
Minus 500, both retire.
I might parlay that up that they both retire.
That's funny as hell. Brady, thanks so much for joining us. My amazing co-host, TB Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Give it a follow. Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Just fucking awesome card. Next week, we are back with Sergey Pavlovich taking on Curtis Blades. As I kind of announced, TB will be hanging out with Mickey Mouse in Disney. Will be off. So guest hosting will be Ben the Bane Davis. Love that fill-in spot. Perfect guy for the job. So can't wait to break down the fights with him. Need a play-by-play commentator because your boy does the analyst work. I need somebody to set the table for me before I start eating. You know what I'm saying?
God, he's probably going to have such better nicknames than me. I'm going to be so sad.
That's hysterical. Guys, seriously, thanks so much. Like, subscribe, share it around. Let's let Brady get out of here. Take care. See you next time.
See you guys.